Good Saturday morning. Saturday morning cartoon time. Anyway, I'm out here in the backyard, and I've got a very special book in my hand. And if you look at it this way, the cover this way, you'll see it spells Conx Pax. And if you don't, it looks like that. And this is a facsimile edition from the elegant folks at Titan Press. This was a gift to me, and just to remind myself that this was a gift, there is an invoice that came with it from Thelema Publications, Post Office Box 1393, Kings Beach, California. And that's where I was living at the time. This is probably, that's Walnut Street, geez. Anyway, there's dates all over the place here. This was in June of 1990. Now, Thelema Publications was Helen Parsons Smith, an OTO sister and original ninth degree member of Agape Lodge in Los Angeles when Crowley was alive. And she was the wife and subsequently the widow of both Jack Parsons. Yes, strange angel Jack Parsons, the rocket scientist, wild and crazy, wonderful guy, and Wilfred T. Smith, who also appears as a character in that old bizarre movie or series called Carnival. But anyway, she was quite a character, and we loved her dearly. And this is she sent this as a gift, just to thank you for your kind hospitality when I visited with you recently. Now, wasn't that wonderful and ladylike? And there's still a few people that are that classically mannered. Another that comes to mind is the brilliant Kenneth Anger, who every time he visited, he always left and sent wonderful treasure gifts as thank you notes. Those were the days. Now, I mentioned in my little posting this morning that I had sort of an idea for some my Facebook friends who happen to be artists. Now, if you're not an artist, but know an artist, you might want to have them listen to today's talk, and hopefully a few subsequent talks, because I'm thinking how wonderful it would be to see people's different artists' imagined image of a particular character in one of Crowley's most wonderful and not often read works. And it's called The Wake World. I was at a Thelemic gathering the other day in the park down here, the wonderful folks at 418 Lodge, which is Phyllis Seckler's old lodge of OTO. And we're meeting as best we can in an outdoor setting. So it's down at McKinley Park here. And I mentioned, I brought copies of Constance's Gnostic Rosary. just to give out as bonbons at the gathering. And part of the Gnostic Rosary are verses of a prayer to the Holy Guardian Angel that are included in this wake world. And I was surprised that nobody there knew what the wake world was, or or were familiar with it, or if they were, they didn't speak up. So I started thinking, well, I'm sure I've read it before in the last 2 years here of my morning ramblings, but I thought it might be time to look at it again and to share it again on a little series of morning readings, but with the idea of having artist friends paint, draw, carve, etch, mold images of Lola Daydream, Lola, the Key of Delights, because she's a very, very colorful character, and she takes a trip up the tree of life, guided at every step by her holy guardian angel. And she can't make the next move up the tree of life until the angel kisses her. And it's very colorful and very entertaining. It's like an Alice in Wonderland. It's Crowley's Alice in Wonderland going up the tree of life. And it's almost irresistible. To me, it would be almost irresistible if I were an artist to paint or to represent episodes at one of the paths or Sephira that Lola's adventure here talks about. So in a way, I'm challenging my magician artist friends on Facebook to familiarize yourself with Conks on Pox, The Wake World. And you can download it off the internet. I'm sure everybody would be terribly pissed off if you did that, but do it. And read it. And enjoy it, number one. And number two, read it with an eye of how this would look as a painting, as a drawing, as an etching, as a carving, as an etching, as a statue. Anyway, I'm going to try to wet your whistle on the wake world today out of Conks on Pox. And because I've got a gorgeous edition here, I'm going to take it from the cloistered protection of my upstairs library, where I have just a few precious things, and I'm going to kind of show you. There's a portrait of Aleister Crowley, and it's in red ink and black. This is a facsimile edition. This is how Crowley personally, privately published it way back in 19-something. And I'm not sure when, or even if it's too important. So, anyway, I just have to read you the part of the dedication. To all and every person in the whole world who is without the pale of the order, and even to initiates who are not in possession of the password for the time being, and to all who have resigned, demitted, or been expelled, I dedicate this revelation of the arcana which are in the additum of God-nourished silence. On the other hand, St. Paul spoke upon the hill of Mars to the empty-headed Athenians. But I would rather talk to the stars than to empty-headed Athenians. It's only too easy to form a cult, to cry a crusade with Deus Vult. But you won't get much of a good result from empty-headed Athenians. The people of London much resemble those empty-headed Athenians. I could easily make them tremble, those empty-headed Athenians. With a pinch of Bible, a gallon of gas, and I or any other guess ass could bring to our mystical moonlight mass those empty-headed Athenians. In fine, I have precious little use for empty-headed Athenians. The birds I have snared shall all go loose. They are empty-headed Athenians. I thought perhaps I might do some good, but it's 10 to 1 if ever I should. And I doubt if I would save if I could such empty-headed Athenians. So, with any luck, I shall bid farewell to empty-headed Athenians. For me, they may, all of them, go to hell for empty-headed Athenians. I hate your idiot jolts and jars, your monkey grinning behind your bars. I'm more at home with the wind and the stars than with empty-headed Athenians. The Wake World. A tale for babes and sucklings. And it starts off with all sorts of epigrams in Sanskrit and Greek and Latin and Chinese and Egyptian hieroglyphs. And here it starts. And for my artist friends, your introduction to Lola, the Key of Delights. My name is Lola, because I am the Key of Delights. And the other children in my dream call me Lola Daydream. When I'm awake, you see, I know that I'm dreaming. So they must be very silly children, don't you think? There are people in the dream, too, who are quite grown up and horrid. But the really important thing is the wake-up person. There's only one, for there never could be any like him. I call him my fairy prince. And just to show you, there are marginal notes. So the marginal note for Lola here was Virgo Mundi. And her fairy prince there, the wake-up person, says Adonai. And there's comments, there's little notes like that that run down the margin of the whole thing. So it's nice to have the book in your hand while you're reading this. I call him my fairy prince, and he rides a horse with beautiful wings like a swan, or sometimes a strange creature like a lion or a bull with a woman's face and breasts, and she has unfathomable eyes, says Pegasus in the Sphinx. My fairy prince is a dark boy, very comely. I think everyone must love him, and yet everyone is afraid. And on the side there it says VVVVV. Crowley's motto is a master of the temple, but in this place the generic master of the temple, number 3 on the Tree of Life. But I digress. I think everyone must love him, yet everyone is afraid. He looks through one just as if he had no clothes on, as if one had no clothes on in the garden of God, and that he had made one, and one could do nothing except in the mirror of his mind. He never laughs or frowns or smiles, because Whatever he sees what is beyond as well, and so nothing ever happens. His mouth is redder than any roses you ever saw. I wake up quite when we kiss each other, and there is no dream anymore. But when it's not trembling on mine, I see kisses on his lips, as if he were kissing someone that one could not see. Now you must know that my fairy prince is my lover, and one day he will come for good and ride away with me and marry me. I shan't tell you his name because it's too beautiful. It is a great secret between us. When we are engaged, he gave me such a beautiful ring. It was like this. First there was his shield, which had a sun on it, and some roses, all on kind of a bar, and there was a terrible number written on it. Then there was a bank of soft roses with the sun shining on it, and above there was a red rose on a golden cross. And then there was a three-cornered star shining so bright that nobody could possibly look at it unless they had love in their eyes. And in the middle was an eye without an eyelid that could see anything, I should think. But you see, it never could go to sleep because there wasn't any eyelid. And on the sides of the ring, on the sides were written INRI and TARO, which means many strange and beautiful things, and terrible things too. I should think anyone would be afraid to hurt anyone who wore that ring. It is all cut out of an amethyst. And my fairy prince said, whenever you want me, look into the ring and call my name ever so softly. Call me ever so softly by my name, excuse me. And kiss the ring and worship it. And then look ever so deep down into it, and I will come to you. So I made up a pretty poem to say every time I woke up, for you see I'm a very sleepy girl and dream ever so much about other children. And that's a pity because there's only one thing I love, and that is my fairy prince. So this is the poem I did to worship the ring. Part of it is words and part of it is pictures. You must pick out what the pictures mean. Then it all makes poetry. Invocation of the Ring. Adonai, thou inmost fire, self-glittering image of my soul, strong lover to thy bride's desire, call me and claim me and control. I pray thee, keep the holy tryst within this ring of amethyst. For on mine eyes the golden sun hath dawned, my vigil slew the night. I saw the image of the One. I came from darkness into light. I pray thee, keep the holy tryst within this ring of amethyst. INRI, me crucified, me slain, interred, arisen, inspire. TARO, me glorified, anointed with the frenzied fire. I pray thee, keep the holy tryst within this ring of amethyst. I eat my flesh, I drink my blood, I gird my loins, I journey far, for thou hast shown the rose and rude, the eye, the sword, and the silver star. I pray thee keep the holy tryst within this ring of amethyst. Prostrate I wait on thy will, mine angel, for this grace of union. O let this sacrament distill thy conversation in communion. I pray thee keep the holy tryst within this ring of amethyst. And those are the verses that Constance placed at the amethyst beads of the Gnostic Rosary. I have not told you anything about myself because it doesn't really matter. The only thing I want to tell you about is my fairy prince. But as I'm telling you all of this, I am 17 years old and very fair when you shut your eyes to look. But when you open them, I am really dark with fair skin. I have ever such heaps of hair and big round eyes, always wondering at everything. Never mind, it's only a nuisance. I shall tell you what happened one day when I said the poem of the ring. I wasn't really quite awake when I began, but as I said it, it got brighter and brighter and brighter. And when I came to Ring of Amethyst the 5th time, there are 5 verses because my lover's name has 5 V's in it. He galloped across a beautiful green sunset, spurring the winged horse till blood made the sky turn rosy red. So he caught me up and set me on his horse, and I clung to his neck as we galloped into the night. Then he told me he would take me to his palace and show me everything, and one day when we were married, I would be mistress of it all. Then I wanted to be married to him at once, and then I saw it couldn't be because I was so sleepy and had bad dreams, and one can't be a good wife if one is always doing that sort of thing. But he said I'd be older one day and not sleep so much. And everyone slept a little. But the great thing was not to be lazy and contented with the dreams. So I meant to fight real hard. And by, we came to a beautiful green palace with the strangest house you ever saw. Round the big meadow, there lay a wonderful snake with steel green plumes, and he had his tail in his mouth and kept on eating it because there was nothing else for him to eat. And my fairy prince said he would go on like that until there was nothing left at all. Then I said it would get smaller and smaller and crush the meadow and the palace, and I think perhaps I began to cry. But my fairy prince said, "Don't be such a silly." And I wasn't old enough to understand all that it meant, but one day I should, and all one had to do was to be glad as glad. So he kissed me, and we got off the horse, and he took me to the door of the house, and we went in. And that's where I'm going to leave it today. If this has served to inspire any of my artist friends to look into perhaps illustrating different passages of the wake world, then my job has been done. And now I'm going to get on with my day. I fell down today while taking my walk, and I've got a big scrape on my knee, and I'm really sore, and I want to get into the house and put some ice on it. And Dr. Constance has loaded me down with homeopathic miracles. So I'm walking okay. I finished off my walk, but I'm sore. So I'll be sore for Sunday school too, probably, but I hope I'm better. Until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Don't be an empty-headed Athenian. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.